So after 25 years since Fire Walk with Me, Twin Peaks has a new series. When it comes to me and Twin Peaks, I'll admit, it's something which I'm relatively new to. I probably started the show about 2 or 3 years ago, but it has since become one of my favourite shows, and David Lynch has become my favourite director in that time as well. So of course with that, I have had a massive excitement for this new season, and I'm just going to say straight away that this did not disappoint at all. I'm really looking forward to seeing more of this season. And I think the big thing that stands out about this new season, which is of course something I knew going into it, was the fact that David Lynch is directing every single episode, as well as writing, or at least co-writing every episode with Mark Frost. And because of the fact that he has so much control over the material this time round, I was just thinking going into it, there's no way that this is going to be bad, because, well, David Lynch he's basically like a genius. And of course with the help of Mark Frost as well, who obviously created Twin Peaks as well. Yeah, I mean, there's no way this was going to be bad. At least that was my looking at it. But I do feel with this new show, with the way that it looks, it's very surreal, because it is a David Lynch creation, and of course he is known for his surrealism, but I feel a lot of people are probably going to be disappointed by this new season, in the fact that the original series, season 1 and 2, they were very light-hearted. For a lot of the time during the show, it would feel very regular. You wouldn't think that it's something which is set in a world where you have evil spirits and secret lodges and all that sort of madness. But this new series, it really goes all out with its surrealism, which is something I will get into straight away. Within the first couple of minutes of the show, it basically lets you know that this is going to be a completely different show, with the fact that it has a new title sequence. The title sequence of the original series is something which was very iconic. Some of the imagery, you know, the bird and the sawmill, the Great Northern, even just the sign of Twin Peaks being shown on the roadway. And none of that is here. This is something completely different. We start with an image of Laura Palmer. We have an overview angle of the waterfall, which then fades into the Black Lodge. Straight away we do get some cryptic messages from the Giant to Dale Cooper. Now of course Dale Cooper, he has been trapped in this lodge for 25 years, getting the message of the significance of listening to the sounds. There's a gramophone that's playing, some scratching, and Richard and Linda, I don't know who they are, something important about them. So will we see more of the Giant? I do hope so, because I think Carol Struycken, whatever way his name is pronounced, I think he's fantastic, and it would be cool to see more scenes with him and Dale. So the journey of Dale in this episode, in this premiere, is something which is very weird. The things that he goes through here. He of course meets Mike again, the one-armed man, Philip Gerard, who brings him to the evolution of the arm, which is the replacement of Michael J. Anderson. To those of you who don't know, Michael J. Anderson, who of course played the man from Another Place in the original series, he had this falling out with David Lynch, and he just has an absolute hatred to him now, and so of course he wasn't included in this series now, and so the replacement they have, as well as of course Al Strobel playing Philip Gerard / Mike, the replacement they have is a tree. Quite an Eraserhead-like tree, I would say, but a tree, yeah, that's what they've got. And they've got even, like from Fire Walk with Me, you've got the the man from another place, he's doing the thing, I am the arm, and I sound like this, and makes that sound. And the tree, the evolution of the arm, does the same thing. it, it is a very surreal scene, but in a way, I don't know. I'm so glad that they did it, because it's just, I don't know. It adds something to it. I don't know quite what it is, but I suppose it shows that there's more to the spirit of Mike than just the Philip Gerard and the man from another place, played by Michael J. Anderson. There's also the evolution of the arm. And the evolution of the arm then goes very strange later on in this premiere, where it starts screaming at Dale and then sends Dale into some sort of an abyss where Dale just goes further and further into darkness, falling, which then leads him into the mysterious glass box, which I'll talk about later. I would like to see more of this arm and what exactly is going on there. Just generally, more of these spirits, they are always fun to see. But also in the lodge, what we get, which is very interesting, is an encounter with Laura Palmer. Dale asks her again, who are you? And she says Laura Palmer. And he's like, but Laura Palmer is dead. And she's like, I am dead, yet I live. When Laura died, did her spirit completely vanish? Does she in some way live on in the lodge? That's what it seems from Firewalk with Me, that she does still live. I don't know, is there some sort of way that she can be let out? This spirit that lives in the lodge, can that be let out into the real world? I don't know. Of course, Leland says to Dale, find Laura, so we are going to get an appearance of Laura again in some way. I'm guessing at least. But I suppose overall that is all the stuff that's going on with Dale in the lodge. But what we have outside of the lodge involving Dale is the doppelganger Dale. The Dale who would have been shown in the very last episode of Twin Peaks. The Dale who smashes his head into the mirror and has Bob's reflection. Now at this point, 25 years later, whether or not he is fully Bob or not, or if he's kind of just his own thing, just an evil version of Dale that's not quite possessed, I don't fully know how it works, and I feel like as the series goes on, we'll figure out exactly what's going on with him. We might get some sort of an archive footage of Frank Silva, or maybe some sort of a recreation of Bob in a mirror or something like that. I don't know, or there could be something completely different, some other plans entirely. But this new version of Dale, this evil version, it's quite interesting to see, because it's so unlike Dale, and unlike anything I've ever seen of Kyle MacLachlan either. To see him play someone so terrible, even just his first scene where he goes to that home and he takes the gun off the person and he beats them down to get inside, and then you see him with Jack and the way he just feels his face, and then you find out later that he killed him, and there's just such a weirdness to it all. And then even with Daria as well, he's got the gun in his hand and he's still holding it, and he's speaking calmly saying I killed Jack. I knew that you were lying, because I killed Jack just an hour ago, so you weren't speaking to Jack. And of course he kills Daria. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. This new season clearly it's not shying away from any violence or any explicit content of any sorts. It was one of the things people were wondering about this new season, in that would it be more like Firewalk with Me, or would it be like the original series, which although had dark things in its story, it tended not to really show the dark things so much. and was more implied, whereas here it's really out there, just like Fire Walk with Me. But so we definitely see Dale acting very violently here. What we also see with this Dale, that he is involved with Philip Jeffries. Yes, Philip Jeffries. That character, played by David Bowie, who had just a few minutes of screen time in Fire Walk with Me. I was really hoping that they could do something more with the character of Philip Jeffries, because he seems to be quite intriguing from that little glimpse we get from him in Fire Walk with Me. And the thing about Fire Walk with Me is that when it was made, there was an intention at the time to make sequels. Because of how unsuccessful Fire Walk with Me was, critically and in the box office, David Lynch just thought, there's no point in this, there's no point in telling this story. Now, thankfully 25 years later, we get somewhat of a continuation with Philip Jeffries. Now, I don't know what the hell they are possibly going to do with this. Are they going to have a recast of Philip Jeffries? Because of course David Bowie now is dead. It's extremely unlikely that they managed to film anything with him if they had him in mind as being a part of the story. I mean, the fact that his character is there is a slight chance, which of course isn't totally out of the realms of possibility, because of course we've had in Fire Walk with Me, we had a recast of Donna, and of course Donna was a very big part of the series, and they went ahead with that. So I don't know. Maybe David Bowie managed to finish something before he died, because of course Catherine Coulson managed to film 2 scenes before her death, which was something, I mean, we would have known about. We knew that she did manage to, but I find the fact that she filmed those scenes in the month that she died it's incredible, and there's a definite sadness in watching those scenes. And it does make me think that maybe, just maybe, something could have happened. Of course they're different people, so like as in they'd have different responses to it all, like as in, but who knows? There's a massive amount of secrecy involved with this whole new season, so anything could happen, really, is the way I see it. But I am definitely intrigued to see what will possibly happen with Philip Jeffries, and I really hope that we will find out who the hell Judy is. I know that we're not supposed to talk about Judy, as Philip Jeffries says, but I want to know who she is. On the one hand, there's some things which I don't need answers to, and it's kind of better that way. Some things, they're better left to the imagination, but I feel like that's just a mystery that needs to be answered, because it's brought up in that movie, and it's just like, who the hell is she? And what was Philip Jeffries doing all those years ago? Well, it's very intriguing, very intriguing, and I just really hope we find out that. Like I said, with Catherine Coulson filming some scenes, in the town of Twin Peaks, a story which has begun is a story involving Hawk, who gets a call from the log lady, basically saying that there's something missing involving Dale Cooper, and that it is involved with Hawk's heritage. Now there's a hope in all this that maybe they can rescue Cooper from the lodge in some way. There could be something involved with the rings. The rings are something which haven't really been explored, in the sense that they haven't been explained as to how exactly they work. So maybe we might figure out something there. The reason I bring up the rings is the fact that in the secret history of Twin Peaks, there are some mentions to the rings. And one of the first mentions of the ring is connected with some Native Americans. And of course, Hawk is Native American. So I feel like there could be something there. I don't know. There's a wonder of how much of the stuff included in this book is going to be brought into the new series. I don't know. It could be interesting. It is interesting to note that it's technically set after the time that this new season is set. So I don't know. I don't know how it's really all going to fit together. Maybe there will be no connections. Maybe this is not going to be canon. But it is written by Mark Frost, so I don't know. There are definitely some plans with that book. But what the full plans are, we'll have to see by the end of the series how it all fits together. But yeah, that's the stuff with Hawk. And yeah, like I said, those scenes with Catherine Coulson, it really was so brave for her to be able to film those scenes, and just shows the dedication she has to this show. But what we also have, of course, is an appearance of Lucy and Andy, who are the exact same as they were in the original series, which is fantastic to see, because in the original series they really had some of the funniest moments, I would say. I mean, definitely, like, there were times, like, maybe their storylines, I don't think their storyline with the pregnancy, but it was a bit like, we didn't really need that. But I'll admit that there were a lot of comedic moments that definitely worked for me in that storyline. And generally just the two of them, they never failed to make me laugh, really. Just the sort of the stupidity of both of them. The way they think is just, it's entertaining. The first scene with Lucy, where Detective Dave McClay comes and he says he's looking for Sheriff Truman, and you know, we get this thing of which Sheriff Truman are you looking for? And it's just, she's hard to get through. But then again, the detective was being a bit difficult as well, so I don't know. Of course, in this scene we get the reference to the fact that in this new season there are two Trumans, and Frank Truman is the sheriff that's going to be in this new season. Michael Onkeen, unfortunately, is not going to be in this season unless there is some secrecy involved, and in that he will appear in it. I don't know. I think it's very unlikely that he will appear. Just like David Bowie's appearance, it's very unlikely. But Robert Forster, definitely looking forward to seeing him in this season, because he is a very cool actor. And I imagine he'll be pretty good in the role as sheriff of the station. So looking forward to seeing some of that. On the topic of the detective, we have a few mysteries that are brought up in this new season that are not centered in Twin Peaks. And one of them is the murder of someone called Ruth Davenport. So she's someone who was found, like, just as a severed head, the hole through her head, then an unidentified body as well, just in her apartment. Which was, again, with the graphic nature, this was something pretty shocking, but the look of it was something very interesting, I find. Like, just the mere look of that body and the head, the way it was designed, there's something about it which really stood out as very Lynchian. Like, I could imagine one of David Lynch's paintings, like he would paint something like that. So the major suspect for the murder of this is a man named William Hastings, who is played by Matthew Lillard. A lot of people would associate Matthew Lillard with Shaggy from the Scooby-Doo movies, the live-action Scooby-Doo movies, but I mean, really, I'd associate him with Scream, which is one of my favourite horror movies, and I absolutely love him in that movie. So his inclusion in this, although of course playing a totally different character, it's fun to see, because he's a really good actor. I mean, really, this new season there are a lot of really cool actors that are going to be in this. Actors we haven't seen yet, like Tim Roth. Tim Roth is going to be in this new season. So that is awesome. Yeah, like I said, really cool to have him in this. And so he, of course, is very confused as to what the hell is going on when he is arrested and questioned about where he was on the night of the murder and all that. And then we find out that he has had an affair with Ruth Davenport. And his wife comes along and says that, well, basically that she's happy to see that he's put in this bad situation. And I feel like it's just basically classic Twin Peaks, the scene with him and his wife. That, like, early on when we first see the two of them together, it seemed like that they have a perfectly normal relationship. Whereas then when we have this scene, two of them in the cell, they both hate each other. Just classic appearance versus reality, like in Twin Peaks. And so yeah, what will be the fate of William Hastings, we'll have to see. Now, what the grand plans of Phyllis really were, we will never really find out. We don't know what she would have done if not for Evil Dale killing her. But interestingly, it seems like she knew him in some way. So it seems like she was involved with him at some point, which is intriguing. My guess is the Evil Dale has an involvement with this case in Buckhorn, in the sense that I think basically he did it, but I don't know. There's probably a bit more to it than that. Maybe that could be a bit obvious, but then again, if it is that, I'm not going to be like, oh, bad writing. Because then they'll probably go about it in a more interesting way than just like, hey, it's big reveal, it was actually Dale. Like, I don't know. Listen, it could be, I imagine whatever way they do it, they will do it very well, because, like I said, David Lynch is a genius. One really weird thing in this whole Buckhorn storyline is in the cell. There's this weird moment where you have someone next to William's cell who looks like they're entirely burnt or something, and who fades away, and then their head sort of fades away after their body fades away or something, and sort of like fades away like that. I don't know. It's just sort of classic Lynchian weirdness. I feel like this is one of those things that is like, if they never explain this, I would not be surprised at all. If it doesn't get explained, there are definitely meanings you can give to this, and I'd have my own meanings to this as well. Sort of maybe ideas of like somebody who could be trapped away in a cell and their life being sort of like wasting away. Could be something like that, I don't know. That's generally just how Lynch works. And one of the also standout points I have to mention of this whole Buckhorn storyline is the lead up to it. In the, like, this is just something small, but I just have to mention, is the woman who basically finds the apartment. She finds a strange smell, and with that she calls the police. But the way she interacts with the police is so brilliant. She's so stupid, like the fact that she has the key to the apartment and it takes so long for her to point that out. And she doesn't even point it in a way, it's just like, oh, I totally forgot that I actually had the keys. Like, it's just the way it's just like, oh, do you think the keys might be important? Because I actually have those, like, maybe, you know? And then they're just like, yeah, keys would be good. It's some good comedy in the whole thing. And quite Lynchy in the fact that we have this big setup, I suppose, to the reveal of the body. And so moving on from that, we have the mystery of the glass box. This is a storyline which I'm just going to say right now that I don't want to find out too much about this. And again, I mean, whatever way they go about doing this, it's probably going to be brilliant. But what I think is interesting to note is the fact that in the original series, David Lynch wasn't really too keen on saying who killed Laura Palmer. He wanted that to remain a mystery. That was at least his original intent. I think that in whatever way they go about exploring this mystery, it will be good. But I do love the mystery of this box, and I like it being a mystery because it really just adds something to it. It really just, there's just an ominous nature to this box. Of course, there's the classic saying of H.P. Lovecraft, the greatest fear is the fear of the unknown. The unknown of what this really is just, it's intriguing. It's intriguing. We do get an appearance of some sort of a spirit which attacks Sam and Tracy, and the appearance of this thing in the box, the way it attacks them is something else. It really is the sort of thing that you wouldn't see on any other show. The way that it's, I suppose, the graphics too, I suppose you could say, like you might argue that like it looks bad, I suppose, but on my viewing of it, again, it just feels very Lynchian, and I love David Lynch's style, like his style of painting, just the way he has changed since the original series, and the movies he has made since Lost Highway, Mulholland Drive and Inland Empire. Those movies he has made since, and he's been painting since, he's been making music, all these, of course he's always been a painter, but I feel like even just in the past 2 decades or so maybe, he's done a lot more painting, and like his paintings have been shown to the public a lot more, and that art style that he has really shows in this new series, and is shown in that scene where the spirit attacks the two of them, and just I love the otherness of it all, in that you really wouldn't see anything like that on any other show. It would look totally different if it was made by anyone else. But there is a wonder, though, as to who maybe Sam was. Why was it him that was looking after the box, and what happened to the previous watcher of the box? Because I feel like he would have mentioned something if the previous person who was meant to look after the box, if they had died as well. It seems like it was just passed on to Sam, and that's it. So they didn't die. So I don't know. It's intriguing, but I do hope that there is an ongoing intrigue with it. Like I said, that we don't find out too much. The fact that there is a connection with the Lodge, of course, later on in the premiere, Dale, when he is sent by the evolution of the arm into the abyss, he lands in the box. And he lands in the box right before Sam and Tracy come into the apartment. So obviously, as usual, there is a connection with the Lodge. But that's all we know so far. Another little mystery that's worth noting is this weird thing with this character, who is a character played by one of the actors from Mulholland Drive, Patrick Fischler. It's something where someone is being they're forced to give someone a job, something like that. This is all connected with someone who is very dangerous, who is probably the evil Dale. I don't know, not everything has to be connected to the evil Dale, but it could be, it very well could be. It's a very weird scene though, because it's clear that this character is very scared about what's going on, because he says, let's just hope you never meet someone like this in your life. And then I'll just finish this review off by noting the small things we see of Twin Peaks. The first thing that we see of Twin Peaks is, of course, Dr. Jacoby, who orders a bunch of shovels for some reason. I don't know, we don't really see a lot going on there. What he's doing with these, he needs to do this on his own. Whatever it is he's doing, we'll see what it is. But it is, of course, interesting to note, as usual, that in the original series, that he says something along the lines of, there's a mystery that he will be investigating for the rest of his life, mystery involving Laura's death. He'll be pursuing it for the rest of his life. So maybe there's something there. I don't know. What we also have is an appearance of Benjamin Horne, who is of course not dead. He survived his big knock on the head from Doc Hayward in the finale of season 2. Yes, he's alive and well. And not only that, but he's very reminiscent of the Benjamin Horne we would be familiar with from the first half of the original series. In the later half of the original series, he had this attitude of wanting to become a good person, be good to everyone. Right here, he's just the way he was before then. And I'm just curious what really has been going on with Benjamin in the 25 years since. And what happened to Doc Hayward as well? He's going to be in this new season. What the hell happened with that storyline with him being Donna's father? With Benjamin being Donna's father? That was a very random inclusion so late in the series. It's just a random mystery that didn't really need, I don't think. But are they gonna expand on that anymore, or are they just gonna feckin' forget about it? Which I imagine they will do with a lot of things that were brought up in season 2, because of course season 2 is infamous for having a lot of storylines which it did not need. We get an appearance of Jerry Horne, who is as hilarious as usual, loving his food. This time he's loving his banana bread. So yeah, it's a nice inclusion to have Jerry Horne back as well. There doesn't seem to be a complete new storyline starting here. It's kind of just showing sort of where these two are at this stage in their life. But of course, more will be shown as the season goes on. And what we also see is Sarah Palmer, who we see just in her home. She's watching some wildlife documentary of some sort, and she's just having a fairly depressing life. Just sitting at home, and she's just drinking, smoking away. And she's had a sad life, of course. So it's kind of understandable. And so moving on from then, our final scene of this premiere is set in the Roadhouse. We have music from the Chromatics, a fantastic band who I love that they have a song in the show. They are singing in the bar. And we see Shelley here. She's out with her friends. She mentions that she has a daughter. I mean, some people are wondering, like, who is the father? Is she really with Bobby still? I don't know. I mean, the promotional images seem to suggest that she is still with Bobby, but James appears in the bar, and there's a weird glance back and forth between the two of them that maybe they had some history that we don't know about at some point in the 25 years. The two of them never shared any screen time in the original series, so it'll be interesting to see where they go about with that. There's a weird thing where we see some character played by Baldassare Getty, who's of course in David Lynch's Lost Highway. He's sort of eyeing Shelley as well. Has he had some history with Shelley as well? I don't know. Really, we don't learn a whole lot in this scene. But one thing that's interesting to note is the fact that Shelley does say that James has always been cool. Which, of course, James is notorious for being disliked in the original series. I mean, I would say I'm somewhat of a defender of James. Like, I feel like I more so dislike his storyline. I definitely like him over Donna. I've never been much fond of Donna, really. But definitely his storyline in season 2 with Evelyn and Marsh is absolutely awful. But I feel as a character, I think he's fine, really. He's never particularly bothered me as a character. Um, and so I am interested in seeing where his character goes in this new season, and to learn what has happened to him since. Because of course he left in season 2. He went to travel to lots of different places. What sort of things did he see in these places? Any life-changing experiences? Apparently he had an accident. Probably from not wearing a helmet from riding a motorcycle all the time. Might be the case. Will we see him on his bike at all in this new season? I hope so. He was cool on the bike, I would say. But yeah, the Chromatics song really just finishing off this premiere is perfect. This really was a great premiere for this season. It's funny, like it just ended, and because it was so long, it felt like that's not a conclusion. And I was just thinking, oh no, there are going to be 16 more episodes to go. 16 more episodes of characters from the original series we have not met yet. Like Ed, Norma, Nadine, Gordon Cole, Albert Rosenfeld. All characters very looking forward to seeing. Audrey, of course, as well. What has become of these people? What are they doing? Excitement. Definite excitement. And what's going to be going on with the characters who have not even been introduced in this show yet, like Tim Roth. What's Tim Roth doing in this show? We'll have to see. I mean, again, Twin Peaks is technically a new thing to me, but this, the intrigue for everything that's going on, it just, it's quite overwhelming. So yeah, that's all I have to say about this premiere. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next review.